Hello and welcome to a live version of Stahls TV. Today should prove to be fun. First of all, let me introduce myself. For those who don't know me, I'm Bob Robinson. Today can I start over? Yes. Live class of question and answer, Q&A. So what we've done is we've taken everybody's questions, we've posted on our Facebook page and asked you what you would like to answer, what type of questions you have about the industry, regardless of what's, product or processes or equipment, whatever the case may be. We're going to do our best to get through all of those questions and some more that we've collected off of Facebook. We are also live on Instagram, so we welcome those folks too, all those who are viewing there as well. So at some point, hopefully you'll have a chance to throw in some live questions if we have time for that. We're going to do our best to get them all in. So without further ado, let's just jump into them. Right off the bat, Maisha says this: what is the best laser printer that won't break the bank? Well, I'll be very honest with you. I'm not what you call a printer expert, not a laser printer expert. However, I have heard good things about the Oki, also good things about HP, but I have no real history with those. So this is one of those deals where you're going to want to consult an actual expert. My suggestion would be to get on a forum. T-shirt forums is a great way to go. Post that question on there if you haven't been on there already and ask them straight up. Looking for a laser printer that won't break the bank. What's going to be a good one for me? But I will caution this: don't go too cheap. There are good printers that are affordable. There are not so good printers that are affordable. So you want to make sure that you're having a good quality print. That's the biggest thing. So you can sacrifice a little bit of quality sometimes by trying to go more affordable. Next question. Gina says this: would Stahls ever consider making something like the rainbow foil with different colors? We're always updating our product offerings. And while I can't say specifically what's coming down the road for the foil line, we do appreciate suggestions like this, and we will take all of those that we can get. So we're always looking to find out what you want, because you're the folks that are buying it. So good suggestion. All I can say is stay tuned. We're always upgrading and adding colors and offerings. Next one, Tom Johnson says this: OMG, I have so much trouble with 100% poly items scorching. I've tried Goof Proof for 100% poly, Elastiprint for 100% poly, and Premium Plus Vinyl for 100% poly. I have several shirts in this 100% that scorch even at the lowest temps. Nice shirts that would be premium dollars for me. Help me with material or manufacturers that have heat-safe polywear. Oh, an industry label for performance products, heat-safe to 285. Wouldn't that be great? We would love that, and something we can kind of throw back to some of the manufacturers' connections that we have, saying that, boy, if you could just give us a grade of your shirt, safe up to this. I love that concept. That's a great suggestion, Tom. I will say this: I know we can't push them to do that, and it's probably a bit of a risk for them to say that this is safe up to a certain temperature when anything can happen, then they feel like they're at risk. But from our experience, Sanmar makes a line of performance wear called Sport Tech, and that has done very, very well for us. It's probably the least susceptible to scorch marks that I have seen in the performance wear. I've got one right here. I'm just going to slide right off camera real quick. This, and if you want to zoom on this, it's just simply Sport Tech is the line, SPORTTEK. If you're not using that one, that's basically one to try out. We've had most success with that. Also really good as far as dye migration goes. You're not going to get that bleed through on the white, on an orange or a red type of shirt. So one way to help avoid this, one is getting a shirt. But when you have that shirt that your customer requires, or your garment, apparel, whatever the case is, that they still want to decorate, they've chosen it, they've brought it to you, whatever the case is, you need to turn down your heat. You need to find, and he did list what he's tried here. He's tried the Elastiprints, he's tried the Premium Plus, etc. But he also got his temperature down to, I think it was 300 degrees. No, that's the next question. So turning down the heat is a big deal. There is another solution. It is a small investment, or a bit of an investment, and that is the heated lower platen. And I'm going to slide over to the heat press here and just kind of give you a quick view of this. Let me get on this side. Excuse me. So what we have here is a heated lower platen. Now this is a separate unit from the standard, and it works just on the standard clamp. So we've got heat here, we've got heat here. If you'll notice on the control on the other side, we've got that set to be around 320. So the heat on the bottom is actually, if it's going to scorch, it's going to scorch the inside of the shirt. And it's also drawing that adhesive down into the shirt. So it's actually helping significantly for better adhesion. Now the recipe is 320 on the bottom, 250 on top. So 250 up here, 320 down here. That particular combination has proven to work on a number of our materials. I'm going to go on the website here in just a little bit to show that list of those that we have. Going to need threadability. So you're going to need some sort of caddy so that you can actually slide this shirt over top. Let's go ahead and slide it on like you normally would. It already has its quick slip cover, so it's going to glide on very, very nicely. And you pull it back. So remember, the most heat you're getting on the top where you're actually seeing the scorch mark is going to be 250 degrees. So chances of that scorching are very, very slim to none. Couple that with a shirt that you know is a good track record, you're going to be pretty successful. We'll go ahead and just lay this on there and give it a quick one. 10 seconds is all you need. The nice thing too, what I like about the heated lower platen, it's preheating right now. So when I load that shirt on, it's already preheating, taking the moisture and wrinkles out of this shirt. Actually, when I first threw this shirt on here, it looked like something came out of my laundry. But it has released the wrinkles very, very nicely. And then we'll just lock it down. I will also mention to you, while I let this cool, because this is kind of a warm or cool peel. I'm going to slide back over to the table here real quick. I will mention to you that if you do decide to get one of these, you do need separate circuits, one for the heat press itself and one for the lower platen. So know that you need a 20 amp breaker for both of those, something that you want to consider. Let's take a quick look at the website here. By hovering over heat press cutters, I can slide right over to heated lower platen. And this is where you'll find the details about this particular item, and shows you exactly what it's for. And you'll notice as I look down here, lower platen temperature 320, 250 on the top, 10 seconds, medium pressure. And that has been proven to work on a Premium Plus, Thermofilm, Fashion Film, Glitter Flake, Aqua True, SuperTech, Transfer Express Stretch Litho, Elastiprints, right down the line. So all the information that you need is right there on that site. You want to take a look at that if that is something that something that will make sense for you. It has been wildly successful. Go ahead and peel off our design now. It's cooled down long enough, and I know you're loving this color combination of the green on the orange. But good news is there's zero, and I know you'll never ever see that perfectly on camera. We could be pulling. There's zero mark there from heat press. So that is a 100% polyester. Orange, darker colors always show those scorch marks up quicker than the light ones too. I'm going to make Taylor work hard. While we're here at at least while I'm on the website, let's take a quick look for something else I do want to mention to you. We have upgraded or revamped our help and video section, help and education section here. So if you look on the far right on those tabs, right next to the heat press, click on that. This looks a lot different than it used to, and we're not going to spend a ton of time here because we are kind of short. We have a limited amount of time here, but this is a good place for you to go to check out. You can see that it's grouped by material resources, how to decorate, customer support, and you can search through each one of those. Then you'll see here on this list, we've got videos, application, charts, ebooks, more, which includes equipment resources, calculators, certificates. You can sort now by most popular, newest, oldest, A to Z, Z to A, and then there's filter options. I might pull down just a little bit more. Filter options give you this based on skill level or product type, material, equipment, sport, Stahls TV, videos, all of these here. Everything is now housed in one place with a lot easier way to get to it. And you can see as we get to the very bottom, there's a lot of pages available at the bottom too, so you can actually keep browsing through there. So check it out. Spend some time looking at that. I think we've got a question, and we'll do our best to sneak that one in. What do you got?
Ellen asks, can you put heat transfer vinyl on painted canvas?
Can you put heat transfer vinyl on painted canvas? So I guess we're saying an actual artist canvas that has been painted with oils or acrylics or etc. I'd be a little nervous It's definitely one you'd want to test before you could promise anything. I honestly say that I've never ever tried something like that. Standard canvas is easy, especially uncoated canvas. The problem when you get into some canvases, they've got special coatings on them that may be supposed to be printable. There may be some things there. We'll talk about coatings here in a little bit. So unfortunately, you've got me stumped, because I would say approach with caution. Find one that's didn't cost you an arm and a leg, and do a test on it. Okay, let's look at a couple other questions. We're still in the same vein about everybody's concerned about the scorching. So this particular person said about the Gildan 46000. Whenever I apply HTV or numbers, the heat press leaves an outline on the shirt. I have tried temps as low as 300 degrees without success. This is not a scorch mark. How can I avoid this problem? Well, if it truly is a pressure mark, which I question that one, and we'll talk about that too, you could consider softening the edges of your heat press with maybe a print perfect pad. It's if it's a very delicate fabric that is very susceptible to being marked just by actual pressure or friction or something, the sharper edges of that platen, you could lay this down first or inside of your shirt to help take some of the pressure off those edges. But I got to tell you, I believe that when you see a box around a shirt after heat pressing, 90+% of the time, it's still a scorch mark. Just because it's not super shiny or discolored or burnt looking, that doesn't mean that it wasn't an actual scorch of the fibers themselves. So I would refer back to everything we just talked about knocking down your temperatures. 300 is still right on the edge of where I'd be comfortable with. I want to get something down to 280 or lower if I could. Excuse me, but also consider that heated lower platen. It was designed for that, and that's really helping to take away the bulk of those problems as far as the box around the outside. So, again, I can't guarantee exactly what situation you're having with that particular shirt. I've not tried it, but I do know it's 100% polyester shirt. So take the other steps first, and then if you, worst case scenario, in some cases, there are certain shirts that won't apply well. They're just out there. And you can have those issues no matter what you try. All right, next, Iris says this. Will Stahls ever consider selling pre-cut 12 by 12 sheets or 12 by 18 sheets of mask to lift pattern HTV from the carrier? Again, appreciate the suggestions. We're always looking for suggestions like that. I can't say one way or the other, but it's good to have those suggestions from our front lines, people who are doing the work, they're right in the trenches, using the product day after day. If anything, I would say if we were going to bring something on like that, I would think that we would be putting it in a 12-inch wide roll, so you could just simply cut it into pieces from there. I don't know if we'll be actually getting into sheets, at least through the main website that way. So maybe down the road we might look at 12-inch wide rolls. But again, appreciate that suggestion. This is what keeps us going. This is what helps us improve our product line year after year. Next question. What are the reasons a design might lift or peel after being heat printed? Wow. Okay. So many right answers on this one, or wrong applications. First of all, first one that comes to mind is the wrong material choice for the fabric. Every material, every transfer is designed to go on a certain type of fabric. So be careful. Something you may actually have nylon in it, or it's just the wrong match up there. So that's probably the number one I would look at. Not following the proper application instructions, including time, temperature, pressure, and the peel. Notice, like we did with the Premium Plus, it was actually a warm to cool peel, so we had to wait. Some folks forget that portion of it, but the adhesives these days have really evolved into be very, very, they've evolved nicely to the point where they're more sophisticated, where one single temperature and time doesn't fit all anymore. So there are melt points to the adhesive where they have to hit, so making sure you've got the right time. Of course, but that's the easiest one because anybody can work a timer or a counter, but the temperature, and then of course the pressure. And we'll talk about those next, soon. Heat press not accurate would be another suggestion. Maybe your heat press, while it says 320 on the screen, maybe if you actually tested what's actually being pressed, it could be off. It's out of calibration. It could be an older press. It could be a cheaper press. Something's wearing out, or maybe it was just never accurate to start with. So one suggestion is you have the ability to purchase test strips from Stahls, so we can get them through Hotronix as well, where you actually lay the test strip on the heat press, lock it down, and up to the temperature whatever temperature it is, it will turn black up to that point. So you actually see a little bit of a gauge there as what accurate temperature you got. So you can test your press that way. Make sure your press is accurate because it could not be reaching temp. One other thing is you didn't get the proper pressure because something was in the way. We always pull that collar off of the heat press, get rid of the buttons, the seams, all those different things. Those are very, very, very common reasons why a material would fail, why something would lift. Especially if you notice it and you say, oh, this team name up here seems like it's stuck at the bottom, but the top keeps wanting to peel away. Well, it's more than likely there was a V-neck or something there that they didn't pull off. So it created a little bit of a bridge and kind of spanned that area, so we didn't get the full pressure on it. Or there could be some sort of coating on the fabric itself. It could be something like waterproofing or a stain-resistant coating, etc. They're out there, they happen. Again, a suggestion here is when you're preheating, if you see steam, that's moisture, or it is actually more likely it's some sort of coating on the apparel itself. Most common with a synthetic fabric like nylon or even some polyesters out there. So you could have there's like Teflon coated fabrics that are designed not to stain, but the nature of Teflon is nothing sticks to it, so that could be a problem as well. So those are all suggestions as to why something could fail. Every situation is different, but those are the troubleshooting type of things. Very rarely is it the actual defective material. That's out there. That's still a low percentage, and it could be. It's very, very rarely if it's with Stahls, because we just got the track record. I can't speak for the other guys, but it's always a chance that it could be just a bad roll of material or didn't get adhesive on it at all, whatever the case might be. Okay, moving on, because we're getting closer on time. What is a flexible application pad? This is a flexible application pad. It is a thin silicone rubber sheet, and it would basically take the place of a cover sheet like a normal craft sheet that you would see here, or your reusable 6mm non-stick cover sheet. The reason that you would use this, it is to help diffuse the heat so that it's protecting heat-sensitive type of apparel. So anything that's going to have that problem where you're really concerned, I don't even know what this is. Some of the faux leather type of products that are out there that definitely have a low melt point that you're concerned about, that you'd want to help protect, you would use one of these over top of it. Word of caution: proceed with caution. Because there's it can be a little bit dicey. We don't officially recommend it on something that's going to be laundered, basically apparel. However, there's a lot of other things out there that won't be laundered or won't be laundered as much. And if you are using it, you do have to make sure you add at least 10 seconds, if not more, to the dwell time. So if I've got a simple 5-second dwell time and I'm using this, I need to press it for at least 15, because it takes at least 10 seconds for the heat to transfer through this pad and to get to the actual, so you actually make sure that you're getting a good application. One other thing you can use it for, it's the same principle, is if you may have something on your item, whether it be a bag or any other item, that there's something that, the fabric that you're applying to is not very heat sensitive, but there could be some dicey areas around the edges that could be need protected, because it's going to get hit as you're pressing anyway, because you just can't get the right platen or the right pad underneath it to raise it. So great product, used properly. Again, always add extra time and just travel with caution and test it. Your name is, your reputation's on the line with everything that you're producing, so make sure that you test when using that. But it can be a real lifesaver for you. All right, a couple more questions, and we're going to have to let you go, but get back to making product and making money. Question from this person, and these are some questions that we pulled from a previous Facebook post. The heat platen on my Fusion heat press is very loose. Should I tighten it? Well, I believe we're talking about, I'm going to jump over to the heat press real quick. And I'll try not to, I'll use this because it's heat protective. This moves like this on purpose. That is upper flotational platen with the over-center pressure adjustment. That is by design so that when it kisses down and locks against it, you're getting an even pressure throughout. So every corner's got the same type of pressure on it. So no, the answer here is no, you don't have to adjust that. If it's ridiculously loose and it moves like 2 or 3 inches, it feels like it's going to fall off, you might want to call Hotronix and report that and see what they can do as far as helping you out. But that is by design, and it's a good thing, and it's actually a patented type of application on the heat press itself. Another quick question: how can I tell if my cutter blade is dull? Well, it doesn't cut very well. Now, there's more to that. It usually shows up in the corners. It's like when I'm weeding something and I get into an inside corner and it's having trouble picking up in those areas and you have to work a little bit harder, that means that your blade is starting to dull, more than likely. Don't have to toss the blade immediately. You can bump up the pressure on whatever cutter you're using. My rule of thumb is if I actually double the amount of pressure that I usually start with, if I say I'm cutting fashion film and I'm usually at 80 grams of force, I start getting in that 140, 150 region because I keep pushing it up. It's probably time to go ahead and get a new blade in there. But don't confuse a bad cut. Not every problem you have cutting is blade based. Including like stitch cuts or skip cuts across the material. Looks like it's a little dotted line. More than likely that is going to be either your blade holder is not rotating, it needs either cleaned out or replaced, or maybe your cutting strip has a bunch of little grooves in it there, and that's actually not getting the pressure every time it hits one of those little grooves. So don't always assume that every cutting issue is a blade problem. It's the easiest one to fix and change over off the bat. However, look into those other considerations as well. But so yeah, if inside corners are the first dead giveaway, bump up your pressure to improve that. If it keep bumping up, it's really not helping that much, put a new blade. Okay, one question said, why do I need to change time, temperature, and pressure for each material? I usually use 320 degrees for 10 seconds for all of mine. I never have a problem. Good for you. That's a good thing. We went through all those troubles to come up with all those proper settings and application instructions, and you just want to stay at 320, 10 seconds. That's a little bit of a humor, but honestly, if I had to pick, like if I didn't know the application instructions and I was in a desert with just my heat press and no way, no internet, no way to find out anything, that would be the universal setting that I would use. But there are specific melt points on different materials, and so they are there. While some things will stick and do better, did that scorch at 320? Should I have gone at 280 like the Premium Plus says it can do? I mean, there's just a number of issues. You can actually over-apply some things sometimes, too much heat. 320 is kind of very forgiving. Most of the materials, adhesives, have a forgiveness level of 10 to 20 degrees at times, but pressure is also a big deal, and of course, how you peel them, we mentioned before. So yeah, you can get by with it. You're probably using materials that are within that range of forgiveness, but I would always start with the proper instructions, just because I want to sleep at night. I want to know that my product's applied properly and they're going to come back. I think we have a question, a live question. Hopefully I can answer it.
We have a few questions.
Oh boy.
You mentioned adding dwell time with a silicone pad, but do you need to add that dwell time with a usual cover sheet as well?
Not necessarily. A second or two, maybe. I'm sure everybody heard the question. I'm not sure if the Instagram people heard it or not, but the question was, do I need to add additional time using a standard cover sheet like the craft sheet and or the reusable nonstick cover sheet? It's not the same. The principle is still the same. There's a little bit of a barrier there. It may be a second or two just to be accurate, but normally we also give you a range of 10 to 15 seconds normally on our application. So I would go on the high end of those just to make sure. So it's not imperative, but it's not a bad idea. Next question.
Marine's pressing pillow is flat, and she's wondering if anything she can do about that to revive it.
Her pressing pillow is flat. I'm assuming we're talking about this type of pillow? I doubt that we can revive it. I mean, what's inside of here is just a piece of foam rubber that is encased in this non-stick type material and sewn down nicely. But I don't think there's any reviving that. I don't think you can put an air chuck on it and blow it back up or anything. It's just foam. It's just low grade foam in there, it's low density foam that apparently you've been using a lot with some pretty good pressure. So I would say it's just might be time for a new one.
And then Ian wants to know what vinyls can you sublimate on?
What vinyls can you sublimate on? If you're going to sublimate, it has to be 100% polyester, and it needs to be white or very light. So the really only options that we have are going to be our glitter flake, and of course it's going to be more the white and or the lighter silver to get a good color reproduction on it. Also, our flock is polyester, so you could actually sublimate on the flock, again using light colors, and our polytwill. It is polyester as well. Those are the only 3 products that I'm aware of that will receive sublimation dyes and hold them. Yeah, anything will release and show up somewhere, but in most cases are going to wash off. So you need that 100% polyester content. So those would be my 3 go-tos. The most popular, of course, being the glitter flake. Good to go? All right, we are pretty much out of time. Let's just do one more that I have here. And the question was, can I apply sim stitch letters and numbers with 2 different colors? Example, the background being white with a gold as the foreground. Absolutely. In fact, it looks more impressive with a 2-color application using sim stitch. Those of you who don't know what sim stitch is, real quickly, it is a actual polyester twill, cut out to letters and numbers or shapes or sizes, whatever, that has been laser cut and then etched with a faux stitch around the outside. It has a permanent adhesive, so it's a heat press only application, does not need to be sewn, but it looks like you took the time to cut and sew, applique directly to the fabric. So by doing a 2-color, one on top of the other, it looks even more impressive, like a real high-end applique situation, so not a problem. Now the applications for those, it's like $3.50 for 20 seconds for a single color. Our website says press the bottom layer for 10 seconds and then put the top layer on top and press it for 30. The same principle will apply if you press 20 and 20. It's still 40 seconds of dwell time. You're still getting all through. They want that extra time if you're doing 2 layers without the full application, because it has to take time, just like the Print Perfect pad, or I'm sorry, the flexible application pad is time for that heat to get through that top layer of a twill so it actually melts the adhesive, make it a permanent bond. I would do 20 and 20 and be comfortable both ways. So, but yes, absolutely you can, and in my mind, the preferred look. Any other questions before we sign off? Okay, it is great. Appreciate you guys' time today. We look forward to, I had fun. I hope we'll do this again sometime soon. I do want to mention the morning show coming up this Monday, the 25th. We're going to let Jenna tell you about how to merchandise like a pro. So tune in for that. It should be a good time. Thanks for your time. We'll see you next time.